In a recent interview, Tamoya Morrison recently spoke about the plot and the timeline in which the Book of Boba Fett show would take place, and let me just tell you, it is awesome. And we will be getting into all of that, but first, like always, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars content. Now, let's get into today's video. So, Tamoya Morrison, who is playing Boba Fett if you don't already know, recently said regarding the Book of Boba Fett that, quote, "We are going to see Boba's past and where he's been since The Empire Strikes Back. Now is the time to actually go back in time and check out his journey and find out more about him," end quote. Now, this is big. Not only does this one quote give us a glimpse into the timeline that the show will be taking place in, but it also lets us theorize about the plot and the potential storylines that we could see. Now, first things first, I am honestly a little surprised that they are going back into the past instead of pushing forward. I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it, but the Book of Boba Fett teaser footage that we got at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2 really kind of set things up for a show about the crime world, and Boba being the head of it. You know, with the death of Jabba the Hutt and Darth Maul, it seemed like the two largest crime factions in the galaxy, i.e. Crimson Dawn, who was led by Maul, and then the Hutt cartel, were in shambles and leaderless. This was a perfect opportunity for Boba to step in, and he would fill the vacuum that was left after the fall of the Empire, and he would assume his role as the ultimate crime boss in the galaxy. Which sounds like a great show. I would 100% watch that. It would be like Breaking Bad, but in Star Wars. It'd be great. However, going back into the past also is very intriguing because we don't really know anything about that. So, the show could still very much so be about the crime world, and, you know, the Book of Boba Fett could revolve around him sitting on Jabba's throne and taking charge. However, it is looking more like we are going to see how Boba ended up where he is instead of where he is going, if that makes sense. And we are going to be looking at his life starting after The Empire Strikes Back. And what is especially interesting about going back into the past is that we are going to see, finally, on screen, how in the world Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit. Audiences back when Return of the Jedi came out, I mean, yeah, Boba Fett kind of fell into the Sarlacc pit and everything, but it really wasn't until later on when we realized, wow, that's a really lame way for this awesome villain to go out. I mean, back in the day, we all thought he was dead. So now that we are seeing him coming back in the Book of Boba Fett and in The Mandalorian, I'm hoping that because they're going into the past, that we will get some explanation as to what happened. Now, we had an explanation of this, and that was in Legends, but in the new Disney canon at least, it is still an unsolved mystery as to how he got out of there. And for us to finally see this happening, and not in a book or a comic, but actually on film in a TV show, is going to be epic. I mean, I can see it now. How many fan films have been made of this, you know? Just an empty desert landscape, and then out of nowhere, a hand bursts out of the Sarlacc, and we can see a mangled Boba Fett crawl out. Another reason why going into Boba Fett's past is so exciting is because there is now potential for us to see none other than Daniel Logan reprise his role as a young Boba Fett. Now, I love Tamoya Morrison, and I am thrilled that he is back playing older Boba Fett. However, if we are in fact going back all the way to Empire, they need someone who can pull off that Boba Fett mystique who is not Tamoya Morrison, okay? And the person who can do that could and should be Daniel Logan. I mean, he played young Boba Fett in the Clone Wars. He voiced young Boba Fett in the Clone Wars animated show. He is always promoting things Boba on his Instagram page, and he's always, you know, liking Boba memes and sharing Boba memes. I mean, Daniel Logan is encompassing what it means to be Boba Fett in the Star Wars universe. Now, I am sure that most of these flashback scenes will be shown with Boba having his helmet on, so, you know, obviously it doesn't matter who they cast if he just has his helmet on the whole time, and if he does take it off, then they can just kind of switch him out with Tamoya Morrison and, you know, make him look like a younger version of himself, which really wouldn't be that hard for Star Wars. I mean, they've made CGI characters of people who, you know, have passed on, so it's not really going to be that big of a deal. But just having Daniel under the helmet, under the armor, and acting as Boba Fett would be great. It would give us a chance to see him again. Also, another little side bit that would be awesome is that because of the timeline that we're going to, and because it's going to be in the past, during Empire, during Return of the Jedi, we could technically see a young Han Solo, a young Princess Leia, and maybe even Luke Skywalker. Now, if we do see those characters, I'm not expecting them to have any major role or anything like that. I'm sure that it would just be possibly a cameo that is very brief. The only one that I could actually see being legitly involved in the Book of Boba Fett, in the past part of it at least, would be Han Solo. But yes, so we are going to go into the past and we are going to see how Boba Fett ended up the way that he did, which is awesome. And while this quote makes it seem like the show is going to be taking place exclusively in the past, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that this show is going to take place on two distinct timelines. And I'm not talking about different timelines like branching off. I'm talking about two different places in time within the Star Wars universe. I think that the first one is going to be the current Mandalorian / Book of Boba Fett timeline, and that we are still going to see Boba take over as the crime lord and establish his crime empire and his crime underworld and all that stuff. But I think that we may also have some pretty long, pretty drawn out flashback scenes where we get to go back in time with Boba and see why he handles certain situations the way that he does. Alright? Now, because of the unique plot and timeline of the show, it is going to allow us to see Boba Fett in a completely new light and really let us get to know him as the bad A character that he is. Because, I mean, frankly, he's been so shrouded in mystery that, you know, it's been kind of hard to pinpoint him. But really, with the Book of Boba Fett and then his role in the prequels and the Clone Wars and now the Mandalorian, I feel like we are finally getting a full and complete picture of this amazing character. It is going to be great, and I am really looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett, and I cannot wait to see even more Star Wars content. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you liked what you saw today, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars content. Literally takes like 2 seconds, and it means the world to me. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, and remember to forever be a Star Wars fan.